All right, welcome back to a Monday Night Storm King's Thunder. It's been a while, but we are finally back and do another episode. I believe we're on episode or session 41 at this point. So we've done 40 before this, which is pretty good. My longest running group thus far. Or we could say also 41 sessions and no TPK yet, so we can keep that record going so far. Maybe tonight's...
Is that what you're waiting for, Lucien?
Yes.
Yet.
I need to know what my record is. You know, how far can they go? Or we'll make a little board and we'll say how many days till the last TPK, which is like they have for the safety accidents in the stores. So now it's been a little bit, so we probably should get everybody caught back up. Let me move the map over. Are my players on the same map just to be sure? Yeah, we're all on the north map. That's good. We're letting chat see the map, so we're good. So it has been some days since we played a Monday night campaign due to some... we had some players that weren't able to make it. We've had kind of some schedules that didn't work out. And then one of them, sadly, PB playing Ian, is part of the Houston storm recovery for Hurricane Harvey. So she is going to be out yet for at least another couple, we think, Monday nights and our Thursday nights. But I'm sure she'll be back. She's never going to quit D&D no matter what. She'll probably play by email if she has to at some point if she can't get her regular connection back. But I'm sure she'll be back soon. So we'll have Ian back. To try to recall or recap a little bit of what we did in session 40, the previous session, you will remember that our group had made it back to Silvery Moon and were there to seek help or also give information to Silvery Moon about the Zymorvan Hall that they had come upon and had been burning. So they were able to... Let me bring up the right name here. They were able to talk to High Marshal Methrammer Arasume, which is the city's lord, and they took that quite gravely that Zymorvan Hall had been burning at this point. And that it was that close to Silvery Moon that the giants actually dared to attack, as the group had informed them of the tracks they found, the giants that had been chasing them, the presence of giants in the area, and the assumption being that the giants had set Zymorvan Hall on fire. So the High Marshal Arasume... It's interesting name. It's like a Japanese name, maybe. Arasume. Aerasume with the little hyphen over the E. Has gathered together a force that evening. They were going to go ahead and send this force out back to Zymorvan Hall to see what can be done. As far as the way we left the session last week, the group was going to accompany them back. We'll see if that still continues. We were spending the night reprovisioning. I believe our bard and probably our druid were gathering horses, taking care of horses and supplies. Our dwarf was getting drunk, I believe.
What else does a dwarf do?
And then I did get us some supplies from the armory for the...
Yep.
So.
And you did make contact with your group, along with our other character here. Let's see, who else would we... So... Coffee... Oh, yeah, Coffee ended up meeting up with somebody that he had already had an acquaintance with to find out a little bit more about the sword he picked up at the tower where they had defeated or negotiated with a hill giant. So he did that, and then we had Finn was the one that went and talked to the High Marshal. Well, I guess everybody went to the High Marshal at that point. Oh, and the Harper contact. So we had a bunch of kind of everybody reaching out to the contacts that they have in Silvery Moon, informing those contacts of the events and trying to find more information, gathering equipment in an effort to head back out to Zymorvan Hall. So I think that's kind of where we were. If you missed any of that, you can catch all of it up on the YouTube channel, at the SirLucien YouTube channel. I believe there's also highlights in the VOD. If you just want to watch it on Twitch, you can find those throughout, episode probably 38, 39, and 40 all have dealt with stuff that's happening up around Zymorvan Hall, Silvery Moon, and the leaving of Felbar. So there's a bunch of stuff that's happened since then. It's amazing if you think about it. Like if you ever write this story down or you try to tell this orally, like at a campfire, it's amazing all the things that you guys have already done. So, but we continue. So one thing I wanted to do is we got to finish that night out. I want to open a scene up at now. Last week we gave you or I guess it was 2 weeks ago for our dwarf Greybeard. Although everybody was playing you, weren't they? Or did you? No, you decided to go to the tavern, right? And you decided to gather weapons. It wasn't somebody playing you.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, you did that. So, do you remember the name of the tavern that I gave you?
Moldy Peach.
Moldy
Pear.
Moldy Pear.
Sorry.
That's right.
Doing a 90s funk band or something.
Yeah, I want to put that down because when we did that session, I had just gotten back from Gen Con and I had not unpacked all my stuff. So I did not have my pens or pencils or anything out, my notebooks or anything, so I couldn't write anything down. Moldy Pear Inn. Perfect. And that's where you kind of hang out. All right, so I want to start there. This is in the evening. This is after the meeting with the High Marshal. This is after you've done any provisioning you were doing. This is later at night as you're enjoying the evening with as much ale as you can somehow procure yourself. And during that time, you kind of, let's see. I want you to go ahead and roll a perception check for me. This would be, I don't think anybody else is at this tavern, are they? Did anybody else meet up with him?
Not a place called the Moldy Pear.
Negative.
Yeah. You guys went to the other place, I think.
Well, no, the Moldy Pear was where I met up with Baron Oswell. Sorry.
That's right. That was where your contact was, Moldy Pear.
Yeah.
All right. And then you guys went back to... Oh, what was the name of that?
I don't remember you giving us a name, and pretty sure I didn't.
It's in the other campaign, I think. Like if I switched over chat, it would show me in that chat. Shoot.
Yeah, Black.
That was where we left off. I think we were going to make preparations for the night,
yeah,
and then
it's the same inn that Ian, or not Ian, but Nardu.
Kenjobu.
No, Kenjobu stayed. It was Nardu. Oh, connection. There we go.
Talgrim and Estelle.
That's what it was. Talgrim and Estella. Okay, well, I'll figure that name out. It was something with a sword. I thought it was like the lazy sword or the broken sword or something like that. I will find that name eventually. Maybe on break, I'll switch over and look for it again. But you were at that inn. This is where this happens. And you did your perception check?
Nope. I was waiting to make sure it was just me. Because, perception is my my forte.
Well, this would be anybody that's down at the
Do
bar,
you perceive
probably
nobody else
late
is
at
at the
night.
Moldy Pear?
So probably like at 11 or 12, midnight-ish. Okay. So you don't notice it, but all of a sudden you feel a tap on your shoulder, and when you kind of turn around, you're kind of at the bar drinking your ales or meads or whatever you've been ordering for the evening. And you kind of turn and you don't see anything, and then you look down and you see a gnome smiling at you who appears to be in his cups as much as you are. And he's got a big mug in his hand, and he's looking at you like he kind of recognizes you, and he's like, you were at Waterdeep, weren't you? You used to do fighting in Waterdeep.
And I show him my knuckles, which have Dwarven runes tattooed on them, and one says hate and one says kill. And he says, "Yeah, made a round to the pits."
He's like, "That's right," and he kind of pushes like a kind of a skinny bookworm kind of looking guy who was sitting in the chair next to you, and he just pushes that guy off the stool, and he climbs up on the stool next to you, and he puts this purse out on the bar, out on the bar itself, and you can hear the clink of money and gold coins and silver coins, electrum coin. There's a bunch of coins in this purse, and he yells to the bartender. He says, "Another round for my friend here," and he says, "You're Greybeard, aren't you?"
One and only.
Yeah, and he starts laughing heartily, and he smacks you on the back like you're the best of friends, and it's been a long time since he's seen you, but he knows you. And then he mentions to you, he says, "Well, it's funny that I was back in Waterdeep just several months ago, and you were there fighting in the pits, and I bet this huge sum on you. First time I'd ever been to the fight pits. My cousin brought me there, and I wagered all of the money I had saved up while I was in Waterdeep on your fights, and I made a killing." And he's pounding on the tape on the thing, and he's really loud as he's recounting this story, and he's like buying you rounds of drinks, and he's just like, make sure his mug stays full, and every time you even take a sip or even a big drink, the bartender comes over and fills it right back up before it even empties.
I like you, my friend. What's your name?
Yeah, he puts his hand out and he says, "My name's Delvoc, Delvoc." I'll put it in there. It's funny if you look up gnome names; they're kind of weird.
Oh yeah,
go figure.
Delvoc, and he's like, "It's amazing the fights you had," and he's recounting these fights about when you took on the guy that was 3 times your size, and you were able to beat him, and then you fought the woman, and it looked like she almost had you, but then you kicked her feet out from under her and you made her submit, and he's just he's recounting all of your fights, moment by moment, like a super fan, like he was totally into it.
remembers them better than I do.
Yeah, you might not even remember half of any of it. And he's like going blow by blow, kick by kick, knuckle by knuckle, everything, grapple by grapple. And he's even saying your style was legendary, and it's talked about all over my family now. And I've told all of them how great of a fighter you are. And he keeps going on, and it's very loud. Everybody around is kind of listening in, and those that are pretty near, maybe a couple tables that are near you, those at the bar can hear it, and they're all listening to him recount all of your tales. And as you look around, your perception roll is really bad, so you're not really catching much as what's going on.
I told you it's my forte.
And then, but you can tell he is drunk. You can tell he's in his cups quite a bit also. So he's not just buying you drinks. He's like trying to go drink for drink with you, but not really making it that far. And then he kind of leans in as if he's going to whisper, but he's talking really loud because the bards are playing songs. It's a rowdy crowd this evening, and he kind of leans in and shouts whispers to you. He's like, "Well, why are you in Silvery Moon? How come you're not in Waterdeep?"
Been out fighting giants.
And he gives you a look, but he's like, "But you can't make no money on that."
Well, sometimes you got to be a hero.
I'm making myself laugh. Yeah, he just looks
Sorry.
at you like, and he's like, "Wait a minute," and he gets this look like maybe you're trying to play it off. So he looks over his shoulder and then he gives you a wink and he goes, "Oh, I got it. You're out hunting giants." And he says it really loud and he says the word really long, like giants. I got it. And he winks at you. And then he kind of leans in a little closer and he's like, "No, tell me, are there fight clubs here in Silvery Moon too?" And he's like getting his purse ready.
I'm like, "None that I've found. You let me know if you find one. I don't mind making a bit of scratch. But no, really, I've been out hunting giants." And I give him that drunk, like, "This is real, man." You know, that kind of a stare. And I reach into my bag, my bag of holding, and I pull out like the bloody stump of one of the giant toes. One of the fire giant toes, and like show him like really a giant.
Yeah, let's see. Let's do a slash roll 1d20. Yeah. He has no idea what it is. He's like, and he gives you the wink, and he's like, "Yep, you're hunting giants. I've got it, Greybeard. I'm your man." And so he's like, "Well," he says, "maybe when it's quieter, and I'll tell you, I'm staying here for the evening, but if you can send a message to me, you know, when you're," and he does the air quotes above him, "hunting giants, if you'd let me know, I would definitely like to help pay for hunting giants," as he air quotes the whole thing. And then he's drunk enough that he's like, he claps you on the back one more time, and he tells the innkeep that, you know, keep your glass filled for this night, that he's paying for it on his tab. And he kind of waddles away as if he's going to use like an outhouse or some type of area to relieve it. He might even just be going out to an alleyway, and that's kind of the last you see of him for the night.
I immediately through the fog check my money. My coin purse, just to kind of like, okay, he really was a diehard fan.
Yeah, it appears to be there. You don't think you see anything missing. You're kind of checking your stuff. Although you're pretty tipsy too, because the amount of drink they've been giving you. But you're pretty sure nothing's missing.
Right.
Yeah, and so we'll cut there for that. Now we have one more thing that's going to happen before morning. Oh, Mr. Ardreth.
Who, me?
So let's start with Ardreth. Tell us a little bit about, okay, you've secured your horses. We've done that. You've gone to the inn. You probably see Greybeard at some point in the evening up at the bar drinking, being normal Greybeard. Everybody else may come in at different times and go to their room. How long do you kind of stay down, and then how long before you go back up to your room? Or did you get a room? Are you staying in the common room? What are you doing?
I've got a room by myself.
Okay.
And I stay till it gets a little bit about dark or so. Okay. And head upstairs to my room with a flagon of ale and a little bit of extra food.
Great. Okay, cool. So we're going to say... So about 1 o'clock, maybe 2 in the morning, what I need you to do is I need you to make a willpower check for Ardreth.
Oh, so where's willpower at?
Straight willpower. I think you can just click on the right on the character sheet.
Yeah, I'm in there.
It should be. Let me look. It's like willpower save. No, it's not really a save. It's the actual willpower itself.
You mean wisdom?
I'm sorry, wisdom. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, okay. Wisdom was easy enough.
Yeah, wisdom. Okay. All right. So the first thing you do, you've fallen asleep, and you seem not to be... You're having a dream, and all you can do is you hear at the moment. Something feels odd, like you almost get this thought like you're awake, but yet you can't see anything. Everything's dark, as if you're laying in the dark room that has no windows, and you're just, and you're not really able to move. So you're in your mind, it kind of goes through your head that I guess I'm dreaming, and you're having that dream where you can't really move much, which is out of character, a complete dream I have every now and then where I feel like I can just, I know I'm dreaming, but I can't move. I can't wake myself up. It's crazy. So you're having this dream, but you do hear things. And what you hear is the sounds of footfalls. You hear the sound of a creaking window. More footfall and scrabbling kind of noises. And then running. Heavy breathing. And I want you to make a second wisdom check. A little better.
Can I
You're
tell
still-
the distance for the breathing at all, or I just hear it?
You just hear it as if it's something like you're hearing it through, like it's near you, but you're not sure where it's coming from. And it reminds you of somebody breathing heavy, somebody running possibly type thing. And then this next check allows you start to get the smell, and you get the smell of the night air. You get the smell of the streets. You get the smell of the gutters. You're in a city. You're clearly in a city. You're still hearing the scrabble of footfalls running at a fast pace, heavy breathing. Well, not actually heavy breathing, but it's heavy breathing in that it's exerting itself at a run, but not so much like it's about to be out of breath or anything. It seems like this is something it's able to do for long periods of time. And then the next thing you hear is you hear a human voice, a male voice, say, "What the hell?" And before he gets to the H, there's this noise of gnashing claws and teeth and ripping of flesh and stuff, and a kind of a gargled cry that doesn't actually make much noise, and the smell of fresh blood. And again, it seems like you're inside. You smell like a fire burning. You smell the sweat and the leather of some type of armor, and old sweat, old leather, as if off of some, like it kind of reminds you of like armor or something, that smell of armor. And now give me 1/3 final wisdom check. Oh, he nails it. Nice. Suddenly, you can see, you can hear, and you can smell, but you still don't have any control. You feel like you're looking through a third person, almost like you're looking through somebody else's eyes at this point. But you can't control where the eyes look. You can't control, what you're smelling or what you're hearing. It's almost like you're just a bystander, and you hear this door creak open, and you see this man who's kind of in bedclothes. He's got like a bed hat on, bedclothes, and he's got a candle in his hand, and he appears to be sitting in front of a small little idol, a little altar to Lathander, and he's mumbling prayers, and you recognize them as common prayers to Lathander. And then you hear this voice, which seems to be from these eyes that you're looking out. You hear this voice say, "It seems you do not understand our arrangement." And you see the guy in the bedclothes stiffen, begin to turn slowly and look, and all of the color drains out of him. And he scrabbles backwards up against his bed. And he's kind of got his back to his bed. And he's like, no, how'd you get in here? And then whatever you're watching begins to kind of circle the room, looking at this man in bedclothes. And he says, "We had a deal. You broke that deal. You know the consequences." And the voice is very deep, very guttural. And then you notice a pain in your mind to yourself, and it stops, and it looks like it's about to look at a mirror, and then it goes, No, Ardreth, you're not supposed to see this. And then it clamps down again and takes your vision back away, takes the smell back away, and the only thing you have is the faintness of still hearing as you're trying to will yourself to stay conscious, and you hear again the scrabbling, and then you hear the strangled cry of a man's voice, and then you black out again, and then you jerk awake. You're in your bed at the inn. You're completely naked once again. You're drenched from head to toe in sweat. And you awake, and it's probably maybe just 20 or 30 minutes before sunrise.
Interesting. But not a dream. I mean, I can feel that it's something more than...
You are confused now because it felt like a dream and you woke up back in the bed, but then you also got the impression it wasn't a dream, so you're kind of questioning what just happened.
So I gather my stuff together, and is there a wash basin in my room?
Yes.
I go over and wash myself and get the sweat, if I can keep my finger on cap locks, and wipe the sweat off my body and start to put my clothes back on and do my best to compose myself before I head back downstairs. And this dream's come to me before. I can tell, though, this is a whole lot more vivid than the last couple times, more a part of it, less a spectator.
Yeah.
And I try to clear my mind like I do every morning when I wake.
Yeah, you get the impression as you're thinking about this throughout the morning, as you're getting everything ready, that you're slowly getting back in control of whatever's happening. Like, most of the time you have no control over this thing that you've experienced, but this is the first time where you felt like your mind is kind of broken through a little bit, and that you were able to gain a semblance. You couldn't control anything, but you had more than you'd ever had before as far as what's going on. The other thing you notice mechanically is that you are missing 2 of your spell slots.
What?
So you're going to go, you go throughout today as if you've spent 2 of your spell slots. Not
Gotcha.
like permanently, like 2 of them are gone. I don't know how we would necessarily say that RP-wise in game, that you would even notice.
I feel like I've been drained magically.
Yeah. Like you have this feeling like some of your magic ability has been used.
Was it a big drain?
You're not sure?
Gotcha. So I don't know which levels. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. They are probably... It is probably your 2nd level slot. I don't know how many you have. How many of the 2nd level slots do you have?
I've got 3 2nd level, 3 3rd level, and 4 first.
Yeah, it was 2 of the 2nd level slots were burned.
All right. I've made that note.
Yeah.
So when I wake, though, I look around and I wonder, are there feathers around me or fur?
Yeah, go ahead and do a investigation roll, so you can search your room to see if there's anything that kind of corroborates what's happened to you here. So you're finding no fur, feathers, animal things. You do notice your window was left open. You do notice that your clothes were in a pile on the floor, but not necessarily where you left them. And if you're a person that doesn't sleep naked, it would stand out to you that you were naked when you got back. If you do sleep naked, the only thing that you would probably recognize is that you were on top of the bed. You weren't in the sheets or the covers. And when you look out the window, you think that the climb down wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it is 2 stories up, so it's not necessarily just a jump either. And it was a cold night out, even though you were drenched in sweat. it's cold in the room and it was a cold evening. That's about as much as you get with your investigation.
Interesting.
And then you can go on with your normal catch up with people that are gathering now. At daybreak is when the guard were going to ride out towards Zymorvan Hall. So if you guys are going to meet them, you would be meeting them at the western gate at sunrise, if you're going to be traveling with them. So does everybody start meeting up?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Okay. So everybody arrives. You have your gear. You would all have your normal rest for the most part. And when you arrive, you see High Marshal Arasume, and you also see Finn, do you have the name that I gave you for the Harper contact? Did not write it down. I thought it was here somewhere.
Glavrin Bitterbow.
That's what it was. Let me write that down. So you see Glavrin Bitterbow is there also. All right, perfect. Got that. And he's the marshal is talking to what appears to be a captain of the guard. Glavrin walks over to you guys as you approach, and what you can see mustered there are 50 mounted knights. You see 50 foot, which appear to have shields, big, large, square kind of shields, and then they have what looks to be like 7-foot pikes. They're all lined up as a unit, getting ready to march out. The knights are split, 25 on each side of the 50-man unit, and the 50-man unit is a 2-column of 25 men. And the scouts, you can tell they are dressed in what looks to be like outrider gear, scouting gear, very ranger-like bows. All of them have bows, great greens and browns as far as the coloring. The Silvery Moon Guard, they're all in plate armor as far as the mounted knights. And they have kite shields and swords. And then it also looks like they carry lances. And then the foot, again, were the large shields and the pikes. And they all appear to be they have like a metal breastplate that has the symbol of Silvery Moon on it. And the shields have the emblazoned of the Silvery Moon livery on the shields. And they're ready to march off. And when you guys show up, they start kind of marching the column westward at a pretty good pace. It looks like they're going to make about the same kind of normal pace that a normal group would make. So they're thinking they'll make about 20 miles a day, a little over 20 miles a day before they'll make camp. And you guys are able to join them. Glavin Bitterbow is one of the scouts, so it's him and 4 of his scouts. And he stays near the front of the column, near the captain of the mounted knights. And then you see the 4 other scouts ride out forward, and one of them rides down the road until you can't see him anymore. The other 2 at a trot on their horses, kind of at maybe a 45-degree angle from the sides of the road. They seem to go up into either the hills or the grasslands or through the copse of trees or woods. It appears like they're going to be following the group out on the flank side. And then there's a scout that rides at the back of at the back of the column. Where would you guys end up traveling with this group? Or are you going to keep going? Are you going to let them take care of this, or are you guys going with them?
I would take my usual role of kind of circling the whole group. but I make sure that they see me transform into lion shape before I take off.
Okay.
I would think we would stay together as a group. We need to get our frost giant buddy informed what we're doing as well.
Yeah, normally you guys have it set up where you fire a flare-like firebolt into the sky or a flaming arrow type thing, and he keeps an eye out for it, and he knows to come to the road to meet you guys. That is your normal way to signal him. And he's usually maybe 5 miles out from the town, usually, of wherever you guys are staying.
Will the High Marshal have any problem traveling with the frost giant?
Are you going to tell him about it, or are you just going to let him just show up and then see how it goes?
He knows about the frost giant. I just don't know if he's going to care. He recognized the name when we mentioned
Well, the
it.
marshal's not with you guys. It's just the captain and then Glavrin. The marshal was there giving them instructions. He's there. You can talk to him before you guys leave, but once the column leaves, the marshal's staying at Silvery Moon. So if you want to have a quick talk with him before you guys leave, you can do that.
Yeah, we should talk to him before we leave. So at least the group knows.
Yeah, he gets done giving the instructions to the captain, and then he sees you kind of waiting there, and he walks over to you, gives you an expectant look.
We're going to pick up Harshnag. We don't want to panic your troops with the addition of a frost giant.
He says, yes, I will inform the captain that you will have Harshnag traveling with you. His exploits are stories of the north here, so it shouldn't be an issue.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm.
Okay. Yeah, and he waves the captain over again and then has a final conversation with him. Glavrin is probably there whenever you kind of, wherever you guys go or wherever you go, Finn, Glavrin kind of is right there with you as you talk and have the discussions, and then as you guys ride out. So where's the group going to ride out with the column? Are they going to be front, back, sides, split up?
We could move a little faster. We have two or three excellent scouts. We could move faster or go with the scouts ahead of the party or the column.
Oh, everybody?
Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay. So there's the one scout that goes, he rides out probably 200 yards out down the road and then kind of just slows down to a trot, and then he stays kind of near the edge of the road and then continues on. That he looks like he's going to try to stay about 200 yards ahead of the column. Is that where you guys hang out with them?
That's fine as long as Harshnag can hook up with us.
Yeah. So about 5 miles out, then who's going to send off the signal?
I'll send it.
All right, cool. Firebolt in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after just a minute or two, he comes. He was on the north side of the road, and most of what you can see in the north side of the road is hills and grasslands. Every now and then, copses of trees, but not enough trees together to call it a forest or anything. And about 5 miles out, he sees the signal. A couple minutes later, you see his form kind of rise up over a hill, and he's got his big axe up on his shoulder, and he sees the column, and he kind of gives you guys a wave, and he meets up with you out at the front. And he says, all was quiet here in the plains. How did the town take the news?
Poorly. We travel now to Zemorven Hall to liberate it from the invading force.
Says,
If there's anyone there at all.
He says, battle then. I'm all for it.
If they have not fled.
All right, yeah, he just kind of falls in line. He moves probably at about the same speed as you guys are moving for the most part. And you guys kind of trudge on down the line. At first, you see a few merchants and farm. You're kind of going through farmlands in the first, say, 10 miles outside of Silvery Moon. There's a lot of supporting farms and ranches and stuff out to the west. And you guys are leaving early in the morning. It is cold. You know you're getting to the time where it's going to be snowing soon here in the Sword Coast. But it hasn't quite yet. You haven't had a snowstorm yet. You haven't had a big weather event. Everybody's got their warmer clothes on in the morning. You can see your breath when you talk. You see a lot of these farm hands or ranchers heading towards Silvery Moon, bringing their wares. And when they see you with the scout and then your group out at the front and the giant, they all kind of just pull off to the side of the road. And then they're kind of dumbfounded as they watch you guys go by. And then a few minutes later, this column of 50 knights and 50 soldiers go by, heading west. By the time you get past 10 miles, you stop seeing anybody that's heading into Silvery Moon, and nobody seems to be overtaking you or passing you as if they're going west. It doesn't seem like you've seen any merchants that are heading out of Silvery Moon towards, whether it be Zymorvan Hall or Rivermoot or wherever they might be going. The Rauven Road heading west seems to be pretty deserted once you get about 10 miles out or so. All right. You guys make your first day of travel. You guys get a good 21 miles out of it. And then it's just as the sun's about to set. There's maybe 40 minutes left. The scout who's up at the front kind of looks to you and says, you've noticed that he's been looking off to the sides of the road, and he's found a spot to the south side of the road that looks like a place where they'll make camp. So he kind of points it out and he says, I'm going to ride back and tell the column that we're going to go ahead and make camp here at this spot. And he's picked out a spot that seems to be in the lull of a couple of hills. It'll be, it's on the south side of the road. It's maybe 400 or 500 feet off of the road. And it looks like it'll be a good spot to break most of the wind that flows over this hilly area that you're in at the moment, grasslands and hills and such. And you can tell that the river, the Rauven River, is to the south of you. You can even hear it, and you get a little bit of the smell of the river. It's a pretty wide river, pretty big river. And then you see him turn his horse, and he rides back towards the column to bring them up to the camp spot. You guys want to do anything special here, just as far as setting up your own
As
camp?
usual, I stay towards the back of the procession as we're going, and then set up towards the edge of the camp.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. If you guys kind of watch them when they march up, they create several lines that are basically, they pull out stakes that have ropes. They tie up the horses. They set up a guard. They have several of the soldiers break out cook pots from packs that they were wearing. They create several big fires. There's probably I want to say there's probably 10 fires, big bonfires that they set up, and then there's small groups of soldiers kind of sitting around those when they're not sleeping. There's several groups that go ahead and set up their bedrolls, and they have at least a quarter of their force on guard throughout the night in all four directions. So they'll have several to the north, several guys standing to the east, several guys standing to the south, and several guys standing to the west. And to the west, they have one extra. That's where the scouts stay. And then they always make sure that you can see that the horses are on the east side is where they set up the horses. So that from whatever direction they came from, that's where they're setting up the horse line. And then you guys can set up camp wherever you'd like.
whatever spot is big enough we can put a giant on the ground.
Giants sleep anywhere they want to.
Yeah, he just finds he's like on the incline of the hill, one of the hills, and he just kind of rests his thing down, and he's used to being kind of a little bit away from the group also. You guys are welcome to be near him, but he kind of makes an effort not to upset or make the contingent, the cohort, uncomfortable, so he stays a little bit away from them.
Well, he's our guest, so I'll camp near him.
Okay. All right. Anything else special? Just so I know where everybody's kind of at. Are you guys going to actually do guard duty, or are you just going to... I mean, they've got quite a few guards up for the camp.
I'm going to take advantage of sleep.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll trust the group.
Same.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So you'll all get a long rest then.
Yay.
At the end of this. All right. So the night goes through. Again, it's bitter cold. The wind picks up. You hear the changing of the guard a couple of times. You hear the stamping of the feet of the horses here and there. But mostly it seems pretty quiet. It's a clear night out. You can see the stars and the moon. And you get quite a bit of constellations that you can see. But it's pretty quiet and somber. You don't hear a lot of noise coming from the group. It looks like it seems like they're in the mode of being mostly quiet. It's not like, they're partying or carrying on. So they're on like a war footing, as is kind of what you would recognize. The night goes uneventful. All of you have a long rest, so you get all your hit points back, spell slots, all that kind of stuff back. And then just as dawn is hitting, you can feel the warmth of the sun start to finally rise up and kind of start lighting up the shadows, and the sky turns kind of that orange and reddish color. And you guys begin to march west again, and you get another good 21 miles. And it's going to put you pretty close. You're going to be within a day's march now. They push on a little bit more because they want to be able to get to Zymorvan Hall within a few hours of the next day. The captain doesn't necessarily want to get there in the middle of the night. So you're going to make camp one last time. So you go a little bit longer into the evening. This time they pick a spot that's to the north of the road, closer to the woods of the Moonwood. Is where they decide to set up camp. This time they only set up a couple of fires, and they seem to try to dig down far enough that the fire's set in the ground and they don't give off a lot of light, but they give off warmth for those that want to huddle around them. They still go with about a quarter of their forces on guard duty at any given time. Everybody seems to be on edge at this point, knowing how close they're getting to Zymorvan Hall. And another evening passes by. And then let's do this for... Why can't I remember names tonight? I don't know what it is. Coffee. I keep wanting to say Tigray. Coffee, your contact back in Silvery Moon. Did you write that down? Because I think I didn't write that one down either.
I didn't write it. Well, let me see. I wrote it down somewhere. Now I can't see where it's at. Checking my bio, and I don't.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's back up in the chat. Because I would have. Oh, there's Burn Oswell, the rogue.
Is it
bitter.
air?
Oh, I bet it's Qatar Kinnan.
Could be.
Is that it? Delsarin the Apothecary. Ayla
That's it. Ayla.
Yalafine. That's the one. It is back up there. High Marshal. Okay. Ayla. So while you're setting camp up and you're either sitting down and hanging out near one of the group, a what would be a good I'm gonna say like a quail flaps out of the dying light and then lands at your feet, and you can see that tied around the leg is what looks to be like a message scroll, a small message scroll tied around the thing, and it kind of hops in front of you, trying to get your attention.
All right, I will mage hand it up into my hand.
Okay. Yeah, so you unroll the scroll and you see that it says in a nice calligraphy written in Elvish, it says, "What have you gotten me into? I think I found a lead. I'm gonna track it down tonight, but this is costing me a good sum of money. So you better be ready to give me some when I see you next. Let me know where you will be in the next few days." And then it's signed Ayla Yellowfine at the bottom. And then the bird kind of sits there as if it's waiting for you to write out a script and place it on its foot before it leaves.
Oh, next few days? All right, I will sign on there. Thank you, my friend. Of course, I will cover any necessary costs. I will be on the Raven Road or at Zymorvan Hall. And then send the quail back off.
Yeah. And yeah, the moment you attach it back, it flies back, and you notice that it circles west for just a second. It careens around and then starts flying to the east before you lose it in the night sky once again. So, okay, that was that. And then the evening will go again. The night you hear the sounds of the changing guard. You hear a little bit more of the... it's a quiet night. Clouds have started to gather. It's cold still, but it passes without incident. And then at sunrise, you guys break camp, and Glavrin and I guess we should give the captain a name. Let's do that. That way we just don't keep calling him the captain. This is a elf who is the captain, although not all of these soldiers are elf. There's a lot of different races in this group. But the guard captain is... Oh. Hello, webpage. There you go.
Etienne.
Yeah, there. I like it. It's funny how many A names there are. There we go. That's a little better. How about Shalana Winrow? Shalana Winrow. I'm gonna write it down. Guard captain or knight captain. Shalana They actually refer to her as Captain Winrow quite often. I'll put it in chat so we can see it. In case we ever have to look it back up again. So Shalana Winrow or Captain Winrow. So as they're breaking camp and getting everybody set, her and Glavrin kind of beckon your group over, and you guys are maybe 20 feet off of where camp is being broken, and he's like, "We should be there." Let's see. He would know pretty much exactly how long it's going to take him to get there. Probably going to take about 4 hours, 3 hours to get there, 4 hours to get there. He mentions that the scouts will be far enough ahead that once they get close to Zymorvan Hall, they will go ahead and circle Zymorvan Hall at a safe distance to see what they can see inside the area of Zymorvan Hall. They will circle back, and as the column gets set, we'll be maybe a couple miles out before we set up a battle line, and then depending on what the scouts tell us, we'll make a plan as far as what we're going to do. And then he kind of looks to you, she looks to you and says, "This is how we would normally do this. I realize that you have skills that should not be ignored. So if there is a change in this plan, say it now."
There's very little sneaking with a frost giant, so we can follow you in.
Wolf.
Yeah, Harshnag kind of mentions that he's willing to stay back with the main group, with the foot unit. But she kind of gives you the nod, and she says, yes, 50 horses are not something that we can hide either. So this will definitely not be a stealthy plan. And then if everybody's in agreement, she kind of gives you the nod, and then I will get the column moving, and we will see what today brings. And then she kind of clicks her heels, turns, and heads back in a military fashion, a military walk, that kind of bowed walk of a person born in the saddle, rides most of her life, and heads back to the column of knights, mounting up and barking orders to get everybody moving. All right. So we will fast forward to the scouts coming up to their first sight of Zymorvan Hall. What I think we'll do is we'll take our first 5-minute break of the evening now. We'll go ahead and get that out of the way. And when we come back, we will find out what the scouts see and what our group sees as far as who's up in the front at that point of Zymorvan Hall. So stay tuned, and we shall be right back. All right. Well, we'll jump back in. All right. Here we go. So most of you are out front with the scout that's out front. You basically kind of come around a bend in the road, and then you can see the top of Zymorvan Hall, which looks like there's smoke coming out from it, but definitely no more fire at this point anymore. More like something that's just maybe smoldered and then been left as you come up to it. You can't quite see in the courtyard area of Zymorvan Hall. Let me give you the... If you remember, it's perched atop a crag that's overlooking the Ralvin Road. The keep is a mortared stone with high-pitched roof that has a wooden statues of baying wolves, as you remember, rising from its peaks. It does have a keep's gatehouse and bailey, and there's a keep inside the walls. So you guys aren't seeing inside the walls at this point. I'm going to give you a chance to decide what you want to do here. You're still probably just at the point where you can see the roof that's obviously been burned. But you don't see too much else yet. You'd have to get closer before you would be able to see anything else. But I want to give.
Do I smell anything armored men in smoke?
You can do a perception check. So you get the first one. Yeah, you're picking up definitely burnt wood. That's obviously been, it's kind of has the smell of an old campfire, of an old fire. It's not the smell of like brand new, just started kind of fire to it. It seems or feels or smells days old to you. Faint traces of livestock smell, but it seems old. If not, maybe a week past. And that's about all you're picking up. You are picking up the smell of the Evermoors from your south and the smell of the river to the south also. But that's about all you pick up. So you guys are probably 400 or 500 yards out from the town. You're at the probably the point where you first see the first part of it, although you can't see the entire thing yet until you move closer. And the scout kind of pulls off the road, gets off the horse at that point, and then hobbles the horse there at the side of the road, goes into the tall grass and starts moving kind of in the tall grass as much as possible towards the Zymorvan Hall to get a better look. Seems to be trying to make as little noise as possible.
Is that an elven scout?
Nope, it's a human.
I will keep pace with him, but I will stay, say, 50 feet or so off to his left.
Okay. So closer to the road?
Yes.
Okay,
I
yeah,
can
he's
see,
on
I
the
can
north
see
side of the road.
PB thinking that guy's not going to do a good enough job and deciding she needs to shadow him because he's just human. Just a human scout.
Yeah, if anybody's going to follow him and start to move closer, then you'll want to make a stealth check if you're going to be doing that. And I can make one for Ian pretty quick.
That was stealth.
What's the rest of the group doing?
I'm going to stay off to the right a bit, but about 20, 30 feet back. We're on horseback still, correct?
Yeah, you're kind of at the point where the Harper scout got off his horse. He moved his horse maybe 50 feet off the road, set the reins so that it wouldn't go anywhere, and then started moving in on foot. So I assume at that point, that's where your group is that hasn't said what they're doing yet, is where I think they are.
Finn will wait with the horses. With
Okay.
the horse.
I'll wait with Finn.
Same here.
All right. So the group inching forward, you're moving kind of to the north side of Zymorvan Hall. The scout's looking. You get kind of a good look at the hall. It appears that the inner keep is mostly burnt. Anything that was wood is definitely burned. The stone still stands at this point, but it has scorch marks on it. It seems fairly quiet. You're not getting any noises coming from Zymorvan Hall other than just wind passing through buildings and the bailey and that kind of thing. You don't hear anything like voices or animals or anything. It seems pretty quiet as you begin to circle it to the north of Zymorvan Hall. And you kind of, the scout himself is staying about a football field away from the hall, staying in the tall grass and moving from tree to tree or bush to bush as much as possible, and makes a complete circuit around the north side of Zymorvan Hall until he's kind of back around to the other side of the Ralvin Road. And then he goes along the south side at the river's edge as much as possible. Again, staying as far away from Zymorvan Hall as he can, but getting as much of a good look at it as he can. And then meets back up on the other side. And that probably takes... we'll move you guys much closer because you're actually at the place at this point. That whole thing, that whole process probably takes 45 minutes. Maybe not, maybe just less than an hour, just under an hour. And you meet back up at where he left his horse. And he and Ian both say the place looked empty. Neither one of them saw any movement or heard any movement at the hall. He's going to go back and he starts to mount, and he's going to go back and tell the column that it appears to be empty at the moment.
Do we wait for the column?
I recommend it. Appears empty and empty are two different things altogether.
All right. I'll Finn will ride down to the road. Wait for the column.
Okay. Yeah, you see the Harper scout trot his horse back to the east. And then within just probably within another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, the column comes up, and it's the horses come up in a column of 2 first, and then you see the foot behind them. Not really in a hurry. And they're coming up in a column of 2 instead of in like a battle-ready line as they come up to where you guys are. And they kind of stop the column next to you.
I will ride up to the gate.
The captain looks at you and he says, "Do you think that's wise? Should we look any further, or are we sure that it's empty?" And you can tell he's kind of looking towards Zymorvan Hall, but he doesn't really have a good view of it from here. She doesn't have a good view of it from here.
I'd say we send scouts into the city first, or the town.
Actually, Glavrin comes up, and it's something that Ian probably does right at the exact same time, but Glavrin also does this. As he rides up to you, you notice that while you're letting the column kind of settle in, and you've said this to the captain, he appears to be concentrating, and he says, "I'm not picking up any creatures within a mile of here besides us." And Ian kind of gives a nod as if she says, "I do not sense any giants nor others within the mile."
I ride right up to that gate.
Okay, so
I'll follow him.
yeah, Glavrin goes. He unhooks his bow, knocks an arrow, rides with you. He sends the scouts out, and they appear to just ride out from where the column is to the north, south, east, and west.
Find out where that attacking army went.
The knight captain rides with you, but tells the column to go ahead and she gives a command, some elven command, and you notice that 25 of the knights kind of form up in a lance. 25 knights form up in a lance, and then the group of foot soldiers form a kind of a shield wall line on the road. And then you guys move forward towards Morven Hall. Okay, so what's everybody else doing? So we've got
I'm
Greybeard's
going
going
to follow,
forward.
but I'm not going to be in the front rank.
Okay, but you're going to go with the group that's going forward. So that's Ardreth.
I'm going to sneak around the north side of the wall and see if I sent anything north or west.
Okay. Coffee, where are you going to be?
I'm gonna suggest to Ian that she looks for tracks leading out of Morven Hall.
Yeah, she kind of wheels her horse. She actually leaves her horse with the column and the other scouts, and then you can see her start to concentrate on the ground around Morven Hall, and she's moving around as if she's searching for tracks.
All right, I'm gonna assist her.
Okay. All right, so the group, you get up to the gate area. Greybeard, you recognize it as the same gate that you'd snuck up to before. The gate still appears to be wide open. It's kind of like a gatehouse. The two big double doors are wide open. Inside, you definitely, everybody at this point, this close, gets the smell of a burned building. And when you kind of get into the Bailey area, which is usually kind of like the courtyard area, you can tell that anything that was a wooden structure has been burned. So anything that was flammable appears to have been burned at this point and is now either just ash or the remnants, the black remnants of cinder and that kind of stuff. The stone appears not to have been damaged so much, but is definitely scorched quite a bit. The windows are all shattered, blown out, or melted off. It looks like the place has definitely been razed as far as from being burned.
Well, might as well take a look around. I proceed inside.
Yeah, there's not really a good inside. It's more like a big pile of rubble. The walls still stand, but all of the wood and stuff and the stuff that hadn't burned is all just piled like it's more like a battlefield rubble or a collapsed building kind of rubble than it is a hollowed out shell.
Okay.
But you can definitely poke around.
Yeah.
And take a look.
I might as well.
Bodies?
So yeah, anybody that's going to just kind of start searching can go ahead and do investigation rolls.
So, because of the stonework and rubble, do I get my stone cunning bonus?
If you're examining the stone for something, sure.
Not
What are you going to be looking for? That's related to the stone.
basically, if the stone came down as a result of the fire, or if like boulders were thrown through it, kind of thing.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah. You can get your bonus with that.
Cool.
Okay.
So it'd be 19.
Okay.
And I'm searching around as well.
Yeah. So you've not turned up any bodies. You have turned up some areas in the courtyard or near the guard place where you definitely have found blood. There was probably a battle, a scuffle of some sort, but you're not seeing any bodies. Near the house, it seems like everything's been burned away, or it has ash and dirt on it now at this point. You're not seeing anything else. Greybeard, looking at the stone structure of the tower itself, it appears that what they did is they set everything they could find that was flammable on fire, and that caused the collapse of the building. You're not seeing any evidence of siegecraft or stone being thrown against it, or it even being bashed down in some manner. It all looks like it's the result of the fire damage that grew to such an intensity that weakened the structure until it collapsed.
Okay.
And you would think that, I mean, you got a good roll on that. You feel pretty confident that it's consistent with they came in, they set it on fire, and the fire caused the damage.
All right.
Not like supernatural fire or,
Not like magma men or...
No. Yeah,
it's just, okay.
This seems like regular old burning down a building kind of thing.
The residents of Zymorvan Hall in fealty or report to or respond to anybody from like Mithril Hall or Silvery Moon?
No, the captain's there, and she mentions that Lord Harthos Zymorvan owns Zymorvan Hall, and he's on good relations with Silvery Moon, but he is his own person. For his own reasons, he had erected this tower, this hall, this keep, to keep an eye on the Evermoors. He has a good view into the Evermoors from here, and has always been a kind of a first line or a last line of defense from the west side of Silvery Moon. So they've had good relations with him. He's not necessarily in fealty to anybody in Silvery Moon, but they do keep the relationship what word do I want to use? Well, they just keep the relationship active and in good standing with him and Silvery Moon.
So nobody will be responsible for the loss of life here. Or respond to it. I'll ask the captain.
Yeah, she looks to you and says, well, as this has never happened before, where we just had Zymorvan Hall, destroyed, I don't know what will happen. If there are no people that come back who would have rights to Zymorvan Hall, or if Lord Harthos is just missing and comes back, then I would guess he would rebuild. If he is no longer with us in some manner, I don't know if he has heirs. And if that's been taken care of, and if there's none of those...
But there are no bodies.
Make it into a bar.
Yeah, there's definitely no bodies.
So if the population of Zymorvan Hall has been taken, what would Silvery Moon's response be?
Yeah, she kind of looks to you and is like, well, we thought we were here to have a battle. We thought we were going to be fighting giants. She's kind of not sure what to do at this point. It did not occur to them that they would get here and there would be nobody here. So she kind of looks like, I don't have a plan. We can send a messenger back to Silvery Moon to see what the High Marshal would want.
Don't we have a sending stone or something?
You have one from Glavrin, right? Glavrin's with you.
He's with us.
Oh, well, that doesn't do us any good.
Did he not think of it to contact the Silvery Moon at all?
Well, I don't. Let me think of how that would go. I don't think. I mean, kind of like you're saying, so this isn't like an outpost of Silvery Moon or, it's not like they are part of a kingdom or part of the same nation or anything like that. The Silvery Moon is just a town, and Zymorvan Hall is another small outpost.
This land has no king. Finn, you need a job.
Yeah, there's not.
I think you should make it part of a chain of taverns, Greybeard.
Good call.
The Evermore Tavern route. Everybody stops. Like you build one day
It's
away
like a
from each
pub
other.
crawl. Yeah.
Put a big question mark outside. See what
Greybeard's Tavern and Pit Fighting franchise.
Smiles, what about your people? Do they roam here anywhere?
Yeah, he looks. The Elk tribe would not roam this far north. We would possibly get into some of the other tribes, or even one of the Lost tribes, maybe this far north. But Elk tribe is normally down near south of the Silverwood, south of the Nether Mountains, along the Ralvin River that's near Everland more than anything up near Silvery Moon. I've heard of other tribes that are up here, but I don't really know specifics.
Did Ian find any tracks?
She's still out searching. We'll get to her and Coffee and our druid in just a sec. Edrim. I can't remember anybody's name tonight. It's weird.
Been too long.
Yeah.
Well, you were assaulted with like 36 different character names in a 4-day period at Gen Con. We can forgive you.
I can't remember even those.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Your head's too full.
Yeah. The other thing, the captain, Captain Winrow, does mention to you, Greybeard, that while you're poking around the building, do you try to get into the building area, or are you mostly looking around the outskirts of it without actually going into it?
Oh, heck no. I would love to find like a flagstone with, a chest possibly trapped underneath, that kind of thing.
All right, so you can actually try to climb over some of the debris into the debris and get in there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so as you're starting to climb over some of the stuff that's there, the captain does mention to you might want to be careful. Lord Zymorvan had many magical protections within the hall. I mean, it's obvious that maybe most of those were tripped in the attack, but you might want to be careful for any that were not.
Right, keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And so you start climbing through, and go ahead and give us a survival check. All right, yeah, you're kind of climbing through some of the debris, and you shift kind of a big piece of rubble that feels steady as you kind of go past it, but then it gives way to your weight. And you'll take 1 point of bludgeoning damage as some of the debris kind of falls onto you.
All right.
One of the things you do notice is you hear a clatter at about the same time, and a sword kind of drops. You see it looked like it must have been part of the rubble too, and it kind of clatters to some of the cobblestones also. Appears to be singed and burned at this point.
What do we have here? I take a leathery glove and pick it up and start to kind of scuff it off, get the soot off it.
Yeah, it appears just to be a long sword, very, very basic, nothing special to it. Definitely dusty and covered in soot and ash and the remains of the fire and such.
Okay. All right, I'll slide it in my belt next to one of my scimitars.
Okay.
And just kind of, I'll keep poking around until somebody yells something or makes a call.
Okay. You gonna keep poking around? All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So let's jump while you're doing that. You're kind of getting yourself nice and dirty, climbing through debris and such of the keep. Let's jump outside while that all is happening, and let's go to Edrim. So Edrim, you're checking out to the north and west for a trail of some sort?
Any more scents that I can pick up?
Yeah, go ahead and give us a survival check. So this would be looking for, well, I guess it'd be perception.
Yeah, I'm only pushing for perception because I have a advantage on scent-based perception checks.
Yeah, go ahead and give us a perception check.
Nope, not this time.
No, yeah, and you probably even realize that it was a 3-day ride when you guys left, 4th day in town, and then 3-day ride back. You're a week out, and at this point, many of the smells are probably gone at this point. Even though you're trying to pick stuff up, but you're not picking anything up. Nothing's been around here in the last few days that you can tell, scent-wise.
Okay. I'll continue circling around to the west side of the hall, and then I will head inside around.
Yeah. You try each of the sides. You're not picking up. It seems like nothing's been around here. No wolves, no animals, no people, no other sense of armor or humanoids, giants. There, whatever you're trying to find, nothing really gets picked up. The overwhelming scent of the burning building, and that's probably about it at this point.
Okay.
You do get a strong odor of the Evermoors to the south that does waft up on the breeze every now and then. And then you join back up with the group, and you get back with the group who are standing in the courtyard area of the keep. You can probably see Greybeard tinkering around or poking his head into different areas and looking around through the rubble. So Ian and Coffee. Let me grab Ian's character sheet a second. Let's do a survival check for her. She's checking for... Oh yeah, natural 20. Nails it. I should play Ian more often. Oh my god.
It's pretty typical for her roles anyways.
Her character sheet I have open. And you guys know you have a box for attack and spellcasting, right? Oh, shoot. There we go. And in there, she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 entries in attacks and spellcasting.
Oh my god.
Covered with weapons of
Yeah,
some sort.
it's Oathbow by itself, Oathbow CS, Oathbow HMCS, Oathbow FE, Oathbow FECS, Oathbow HMFE, Oathbow HMCS FE. Like there's a ton of different. This is pretty funny. Oh, FE favored. That's what it is. Favored enemy. What is CS? Colossus Slayer.
Nice.
What's the other one she's doing there?
I thought I was bad with rage and stuff. So I got all my weapons, and then all my weapons with rage, and
Yeah, greater favored Emily. That's her other one. Greater favored. Interesting. Okay. So you notice Coffee. You notice she's checking tracks out, and then directly north, she picks up some tracks right on the outside that look like they came from the gate area. It looks like a group of, and she's kind of mumbling this out or saying it while she's looking at it. Looks like a group circled around the town and then headed straight north. And she's looking at the tracks and she says, definitely a giant. And she's looking at him, the tracks. She says, these got to be orc tracks. These are like orc boots. And she's trying to count them. And she's looking and she's thinking, I think there's probably 20 orc sets of orc boots here. And I'm seeing paw prints, large wolf paw prints. Also, nearly as many as the same as the orcs, maybe 20, maybe less as she's looking at them. And then she kind of starts moving northward away from, and she gets, a couple of football fields from Zymorvan Hall as she starts to head north. And she says, yeah, they definitely took off. And then she spots some dragged marks. And she says, they might be dragging something with them. This could be people. This could be stuff. They've got something with them.
And how many days ago? Can you tell?
Yeah, she thinks it's a week ago. 6-7 days. And she says it's got to line up with the time that we were here. It had to have happened right about the same time. This she thinks it's the tracks from the people that set the fire. It would be right about the same time frame.
All right. If they're dragging something, in my mind, the only times we've seen giants attacking settlements is when they were attempting to gather items for the engine, which makes me wonder if Zymorvan Hall had one of these items at some point.
Yeah, and she's kind of looking at the tracks, and she says, well, that, and if you remember Finn's story, it's obvious that they take slaves.
Did we not see a lot of bodies around Zymorvan Hall?
We saw none, right?
Well, those two haven't gone in, so they're not sure.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's all right. We should get back to the group and fill them in on what we found.
Yeah. She does concentrate again. She says, "Give me just a moment." She's gonna concentrate. How long does that take her to do? Where is that? Wanderer? No. I'm sure she would have wrote it down. Natural Explorer, right? No, it'd be Favored Enemy. Call information about them. She put in her spells. Primeval Awareness, is that it?
If she's trying to sense things, yes, that's it.
I just want to see how long it takes her to do that. Part 2. There we go. By spending an uninterrupted minute. Yeah, so she concentrates for a minute, Coffee, as you see. And she can go out to 5 miles. Okay. In which direction they are. So 5 miles is going to get us there. Yeah. Okay. So she comes out of that kind of concentration, and she says, "I'm still not picking up any giants within 5 miles." And then she follows you back to the hall.
Okay.
And then so now everybody's kind of met up, and that all kind of happens right about the same time that everybody's doing some different stuff.
I'll fill in everybody on what we found.
Okay. So
I'll respond.
Greybeard,
Slaves may make sense since this place is pretty much empty. Although, what about the dead bodies? Would they have taken those with them too?
It's all food for the stew pot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so while you guys are talking, Greybeard, you kind of duck under another set of what appears to be fallen over wall section. And you kind of lose sight of the group, and nobody quite notices that they've lost sight of Greybeard for the moment. And go ahead and let me see how this is going to work. I think I just clicked this. Let's see if this works. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you step on what appears to be some fabric as you're scooting underneath this. You feel it shift, and this rug wraps itself around you completely. And it is grappling you.
Mm-hmm. There was no save. It's like an attack or something.
We're going to do that here in just a second.
Oh,
but
okay.
basically, you're going to be restrained. You're blinded, and you can feel that it's starting to try to suffocate you. But you get to make a opposed check of against the grappling. You can escape on a DC 13.
Okay.
Shouldn't be too bad for you. And I think you can use grappling, so I'm guessing you can use either the same rules that you would normally use. You can pick between
Acrobatics or athletics.
Yeah.
All right.
Aren't those famous last DM words? It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nah, DC 13 didn't sound too bad. So yeah, you are able to struggle and break free of this rug. It's obviously being animated in some way and is trying to wrap itself around you. But let's go ahead and roll initiative.
All right.
Oh, wait. Let me bring up the tracker.
I don't have a fig.
Greybeard and the rug, or all of us?
I'll just add it in. You can go ahead and click on it, and I'll add your...
Can we bet on this? Because if you get beat by a rug, we are never going to let you live it down.
No one help. No one help.
One help, yeah.
I got 5 gold pieces on the rug.
The rug got a natural 20.
And my stupid pride would not let me yell out. Not yet, anyway.
That rug is dynamite.
That rug is dynamite. Nice. It's no ordinary rug.
It is very nice oriental rug. You've noticed as you're looking at it closely. It got a total of 22, natural 20.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets to go again. It's animated, so it flings itself back at you. I'm going to make a... Can I just make a melee attack? Or is that just going to do the thing again? A 16. Does that beat your armor class as it tries to smother you once again?
It hit 16 is my armor class.
Oh yeah, so it wraps itself around you, and even if you were going to try to shout out, it's like wrapping your entire head, your whole upper body. It's definitely trying to incapacitate you. You can tell it's trying to squeeze your lungs You are restrained, blinded, and at risk of suffocating, and the rug can't smother another target in addition at the start of each of the target's turn. Okay, so it's your turn. That was its action. So you are now grappled.
All right.
I think you can still, you can make an escape, DC 13 escape again, which is you rustling your way back out of it again.
All right.
And then after this one, I'll let, so you're able to, and you haven't raged yet or any of that stuff, right?
No.
Okay.
Because I'm too embarrassed to be raging.
Rage against the rug.
Rug,
Sounds like a movie.
exactly.
All right,
Nice.
so you use your turn to break free. You would still have bonus action or movement at that point as you are able to finally get your head unwrapped and take a breath.
All right. Bonus action scimitar.
Okay. 22 would hit. 12 damage. Okay. You cut into it, but it's obviously magically animated, so it appears to still be trying to get a hold of you at this point.
Okay.
You would still have movement, I guess, if you wanted to run away.
Nope. Me and this rug are gonna have it out now.
All right. Its turn, so it makes another smothering attack at you. Let's try this again. This time it is not able to get a hold of you, so you get your full turn.
All right.
And then after this, I'll let people make a perception check to see if they can hear the commotion.
All right. I'm gonna grapple it.
Okay.
I'm gonna try anyway. What the heck? All right. So that is an athletics check, I believe, to initiate the grapple. So
It's going to try
tie
to
up the rug.
it doesn't have any skills, so it's just going to use its strength to try to combat you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're able to wrap yourself. You've got it in a tight bind. You've got it grappled at this point.
It's flapping over my head, and I start dragging it out into the courtyard.
Yeah, okay. So the group in the courtyard who's been talking amongst themselves, go ahead and do perception checks.
It's just so ridiculous.
Okay. All right. Maybe Edrim's the only one that doesn't pick it up. So yeah, you guys see a commotion coming out of the debris, covered in soot, in ash, in charcoal. You see Greybeard dragging a rug, and he looks like he's pretending to struggle with it. For some reason, either the rug's really heavy, or he's playing around or something. You're not quite sure what he's doing because it looks funny as he's shaking around and dragging it and trying to come out of the rubble.
I
Dust
just start
flying off.
laughing. I start laughing and yelling, "Greybeard, do you need help?"
This rug's dynamite.
This is no time to be goofing around with the carpet.
Okay.
Carpet diem, Greybeard, carpet diem.
Now, I have a 23 strength, so
Yeah.
I'm going to throw the rug towards them.
Okay. Towards who? You got to pick somebody.
Figures Greybeard would find the only unburnt rug in the entire place.
I'll throw it towards Ardreth.
All right, Ardreth, you see him just throw the rug, and you kind of look at it like he's throwing this rug to you. And it kind of appears to move, and as it comes at you, it's going to try to smother you. It rolls a 12, so your AC would allow you to dodge if you wish, or you can try to catch it.
I dodge.
Yeah. So you kind of dodge out of the way, but the rug begins to move on its own, and you realize now this rug is animated.
So that's what I'm talking about.
I run towards Greybeard as fast as I can to get on the other side of him to put him between me and the rug.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm just
I'm
stunned.
watching.
I'm watching.
Okay, so yeah, you guys are kind of watching. The captain's kind of watching. And then it tries to jump at, we'll say it jumps towards Coffee next, since everybody's just kind of watching it and not doing anything. It jumps and moves itself towards Coffee and rolls an 11 as it lunges for you, Coffee, and you're able to dodge out of the way.
Did it go by itself?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
did
it's
it look like
clearly
it threw
moving
it at
on
me?
its own. Yeah.
I'm gonna yell, "It's magical!"
And I'll run to try to tackle / grapple it again at this point. Now that I've made my point and people have seen
Okay.
what's going on with it.
All right, so yeah, you run up and go ahead and do your grapple check again. See if you can get back a hold of it. Uh-oh.
No.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
Oh, it counters. It wraps itself around you. And what you guys
Easiest
see-
5 gold I've ever made.
And what you guys see is like his head's all encased and enveloped, his whole upper body, and it's trying to squeeze him.
Murden's beard.
Greybeard got to go. Everybody else can have a turn before we get back to the rug, if you wish.
Do you need help, Greybeard?
He is blinded and restrained. You probably can hear, but yeah, you're actually suffocating, so you probably can't talk much either. You're losing all your wind.
All right.
And I yell, "Sorry, Greybeard, we couldn't hear you. What was that again?"
Edrim rolled a 9 to do what, Edrim?
To see if he noticed, and he still does not.
Okay, yeah, he's like...
I'm still looking for stuff up by the gate.
Okay.
For
If it had a
giants,
squeaky toy in it,
dangerous
though.
stuff, and
I'm just gonna look to Coffee. I'm like, this is kind of your wheelhouse.
all right. As soon as I can, I will once again try to break free or grapple it.
Sure, but first, because it stays grappled for one turn at this point, one round. Let's see. You take 10 bludgeoning damage
That rug is dynamite.
as
Told
it
ya.
starts to I mean, you're out of breath at this point. It's squeezed your chest enough that it's all your wind has left your body. But now you can go ahead and make your check to DC 13 breakout.
Can we take a break after this?
Yeah. Okay, you're able to break with your action, Greybeard. You still have bonus action and movement.
Then, as a tavern brawler, I will grapple it as a bonus action.
Okay. If it beats you, I'm just going to have you wrapped up again.
I know. I
Oh,
get
okay.
it.
So you've got it wrapped in your arms.
All right. Whew.
But it's struggling. It's not stopping. Like it's trying to struggle against your grapple.
Okay. When I get a chance, I'll start pummeling it. Just letting it have a good dwarven beat down.
Like with your fists?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's take our last 5-minute break of the evening, and then we'll come back and see if Greybeard is able to defeat a rug of smothering.
I think the Vegas odds are now at 4-1
Yeah. Yeah.
in the rug's pants.
Well, if he doesn't go raged, it might be able to beat him.
There you go.
What would all the other pit fighters say?
I would make them fight one of these things.
I'm still laughing looking at the turn order. Rug 22, Greybeard 6. I'll be right
So,
back.
Yeah, we'll be back in 5 minutes, and we'll finish out the session. So stay tuned.
Shoo.
All right, let's jump back in. So Greybeard, you have this grappled. Everybody, you can see him struggling to keep it in his arms. It's trying to struggle free, but his strength is able to overpower it thus far. Anybody else can make a turn at this point while he has it, or you can let him go.
In the danger of it, I do indeed rage.
Oh, so you could use a bonus action. So you grappled would be your action. Bonus action, rage?
Yep.
Okay. Edrim rolls a 2. Edrim's outside of the keep, apparently.
Yeah.
Counting
That's what I
flowers.
said. He's looking for like real threats, you know, all intense, like waiting for giants to burst from the trees. And we're inside fighting a rug.
All right. Well, it seems like nobody else is doing anything.
I'll walk up to it and just. I won't take any weapons out, but I'll walk up and help him. I don't know, pin it down or get it under control.
Get Harshnag to roll a rock on top of it.
Well, you guys can hold it. It's just obvious that once you let it go, it's going to try to smother somebody again.
No, I'm beating this thing to pieces so that I can hang it on my wall.
Okay, so you're raging out. We'll say you can you'll get advantage on your attack. Finn is also holding it, pieces of it. So yeah, go ahead and do your attacks.
All right.
Yep, 24. And what is your actual move here? What are you damaging it with?
Oh, fist. Just pounding on it.
Yeah, you pound into it, and you immediately, even in your enraged state, you're recognizing that pounding it with your fist is going to do no damage to it.
All right, so I'll interact after my first punch and pull my scimitar and let him have it with the scimitar.
Okay. Yep. Crit hit. Nice. 16 points. Ooh, that's a big hit. Almost.
Right.
It's not struggling as
before.
much.
All right.
But it still has just a few magical essence left in it. Still tries to struggle. Still tries to get a hold of you. It's going to try to break free of your grapple. So you're going to do an opposed check. It's going to do a strength.
Right.
And I was going to say disadvantage because Finn is helping you, but he got a 22. So.
Okay, and I have advantage also. So
because of your rage, yeah.
Yep.
29. Yep. So you still got it. You still got it grappled.
No, you're not going anywhere, rug.
Okay, yeah. So it can't do anything. Its attack is the smother, so if it can't smother you, it doesn't really have another way to attack you, so it's back to your turn.
All right. Oh.
It's bouncing around and trying to pull you and Finn around, and your scimitar, the flat of the blade hits the rug instead of the edge on, so you smack it, but it doesn't do any damage to it.
Dust flies out.
Yeah. It is definitely the funniest fight any of you have seen in a long time. Harshnag is laughing quite uproariously.
I'd throw it on his face if I thought it would do any good. All right.
You still have... That's your one attack.
I do not have anything
Finn?
else.
I'm just helping him as an action.
Okay. Yeah, help. Yep. It tries to break free one more time.
Oh, wait then. If he's helping me, then my 18 probably hit? Because I would have advantage?
You have advantage on the grapple.
Okay.
Yeah.
I make a perception roll to see if there's a broom around anywhere.
Yeah, you can make a perception check to try to find a broom.
And I don't find a broom.
Nope, it's burnt. You find like half a broom that's been burned.
Oh, perfect. I'm gonna go after the rug with a broom now. But only the spots where Greybeard's at.
Yeah, it
Right.
rolls a 5. Greybeard to struggle against you. You still gotta
All right.
oppose it. Yep.
All right.
24. You're fine. Your turn.
And come on.
It's your full turn, so you get your normal.
Yeah. Yep.
15 is a hit. And that is enough to break the spell. Your scimitar slashes it finally in half, and you can tell that the magical energy dissipates from it, and it just lies on the ground as if it's just a regular rug.
Well, that was different. And I start rolling the two pieces together. Maybe turn this thing into a flying rug or something. And I look at Coffee like, huh?
I'm just trying to think of all the bets we could win at a pits with this thing if we could control it.
I know.
You versus the rug. Who's getting?
Really wanted to like throw it in my bag of holding.
All right, so after this sideshow, I guess is the only thing we can call that. You're all standing there, and it is now quiet in the courtyard once again. Ian has a perturbed look on her face as if you guys are wasting time. What's the group going to do?
Oh, and I go, oh, and I found this. And I hold it up like I'm going to hand it to Ardreth, and then Coffee, and then Coffee, and then Ardreth. And I'm like, I don't know, found this in there. Is it a, singing sword or anything like that? And I try to hand it to one of them.
I'll take a look at it.
Captain, what is your intention at this point?
You could do an arcane check, Coffee. She looks at you and she says she's going to bring in the column. They're going to set up guard around Zymorvan Hall, and then she's going to send a message back to Silvery Moon for further orders.
That's 3 days back to Silvery Moon. 3 days back to here. That's 6 days. Those giants could be traveling north with everybody from this hall.
Yeah, I don't think this is something we should sweep under the rug.
Yeah,
we
and
should go
Ian
after
mentions already that they already have a 6-day head start if we're going after them. It was 6 days since you guys last saw them. Already, she mentions.
Could we convince them to march to Rivermoot?
The captain says, no, our orders were to come to Zymorvan Hall, secure it from the giants, who we thought would be here. Now we're going to have to guard the road of any of the merchants that are coming. So I plan to keep this, just garrison our troops here for now until we can either decide if they're coming back or if Silvery Moon is going to send somebody here to do something with Zymorvan Hall. And she kind of looks at you expectantly, or if you're able to bring back Lord Zymorvan himself.
I look to the group.
So my head says kill giants, but my heart says we have to go after the people.
One and the same.
Oh, didn't they split up?
No, I think the giants are pulling them.
It's 6 days, though. Can we catch up with them?
I don't know. And that's just one force of giants. There was a second group of them, right, that we were trying to get out and around.
Yeah, the second group, you guys traveled south from Sabrin River. When you noticed the second group, smaller group, but the second group that was at Zymorvan Hall when you guys came upon it. So the bigger force was the original one.
If they were fire giants, wouldn't they have been heading east towards Iron Slag?
Who are you asking?
The room.
Unless they were getting something for a specific reason.
Well, I'm all for heading north, chasing after them.
Me too. I don't want to be just laying around being flat all day.
What does Harshnag say?
Yeah, Harshnag's like, I'm for going after them.
Could we get a couple of spare horses to make the trip faster?
From the captain, no. None of the knights would give up their horse.
Riding mounts?
You don't see any animals here at Zym. You saw stables that have been burned down also, but there are no animals in there. There wasn't any corpses of animals either. I mean, this place looks like it's been burned down, ransacked. Most of the definitely anything living has been taken. So livestock, people.
Yeah, if only this was second edition. We had the mount spell. I think we're ready to go then.
Provided that captain's not going to help us, I guess. No, yeah.
All right, Coffee, the Arcana check. I mean, it appears just to be a sword that it looks like a grimy, soot-covered sword that he kind of handed over to you.
I'm going to give it back to him.
And tell him it's magic.
It's a magic carpet frame sword.
Oh, dang. Well, in the bag. And I guess I'll roll it up in the carpet and put both of them in my bag of holding.
Okay.
Guys, remember, everyone has a healer's kit.
I actually have it written down, so.
Woohoo.
All right. So it's probably midday at this point at Zymorvan Hall. The column is... It looks like the troops are starting to move a campsite just to the south of the keep. They're setting up basically like a battle camp. You can see them digging trenches, and it looks like they're cutting some trees down and making kind of like the typical stakes that they put out when they're going to build kind of a more defensive camp near Zymorvan Hall. They don't want to be... the captain mentions that she doesn't want to get trapped inside Zymorvan Hall, so they're going to set their camp up outside of it. And then keep an eye on the road and the Evermoors. And any merchants that are heading this way or through this way.
Right. Protect the money. I see where your loyalties lie, Captain.
Did you say that?
I want to. This will be better than the carpet.
Yeah, she goes about her business. So that leaves the group.
Travel north as fast as we can, following the tracks, letting PB and Edrim track the group, I guess.
Sounds good to me.
All right. You guys leave immediately. And at about 10 miles to the north is about as far as you can get as the sun starts to set. And it's just about at the edge of that. Ian recognizes that the tracks begin to head northwest. As the sun begins to set, and she won't be able to follow the tracks until morning.
Then we should make camp, I think.
Sounds good.
Okay. So you guys set up camp. I'm assuming normal. Let me get back over to normal watch order.
Sounds good.
So Finn, Greybeard, Ian, Edrim, Coffee, and then Ardreth bringing up the final. Okay. Harshnag will probably... Harshnag will stay up with Greybeard. So it'll be second watch for him before he dozes off. So he stays up with Finn and Greybeard and then dozes off. All right. So Ian will also concentrate once again. And she says, I'm still not picking up any giants within 5 miles. Before you guys, while you guys are setting up camp, I guess. Okay. So the night goes uneventful. And she's able to pick up the tracks once again in the morning. It looks like just about 10 miles north of the hall, they were going directly north, and then they veer more to the left, and they're moving more to a northwest direction. And you guys get back to... You travel another day, and you get back to the Zerbrun River.
Do we travel faster with Ian leading?
Normally, like off-road, you guys would travel less than 21 miles. Like on a road, you travel 21 miles a day. But because of Ian, you get to travel just like you're on a road. So you get to go 21 miles in a day.
Okay.
Unless you're going to try to push it somehow. Which you could do that.
Well,
but
if we're
then
going to
everybody...
catch it, we have to push a little bit harder,
Yeah.
right? We're going to have to move faster than they do. Luckily, they're dragging a bunch of slaves or some large object, so it should keep them a little bit slower. But
Well, they don't have somebody with Natural Explorer in their group, right?
On the whole, your group probably travels faster than them normally. Like if you both were a mile apart from each other, you both were traveling north, your group would move further north than their group would. Who would catch who if they're pushing themselves to exhaustion and doing more than just the normal would just depend on who has the stamina to keep pushing. Like if you're going to push yourselves, then I'm going to make you make probably, I think it is, there's a stat for
I have the vision
Con
of the
check.
chase scene in Lord of the Rings now.
Yeah, you'd make a con check in half a day. So twice a day, you'd make a constitution check. If you fail it, you would take 1 level of exhaustion. If you make it, then you're fine.
That's gonna be different than a Constitution saving throw, though, right?
No, be Constitution saving throw.
All right. Well, if anyone stays near me during those con checks, you can use my Paladin advantage on your checks, so we can push it.
Sounds good.
All right, so at the half day mark, then everybody would make a Constitution saving throw.
So everyone's getting another +3.
Dwarves are natural born sprinters, right, Greybeard?
Yep.
Let me get Ian. She should be fine, but core Constitution. Nope.
It's empty. Oh, there.
Ian takes 1 level of exhaustion. Okay. So you guys will get quite a bit further in the half day. So before the sun goes down, you actually make it to the river now. You've actually made it there quicker. You're at the river, and it looks she leads you to the tracks. They're still pretty obvious at this point, but it looks like they've crossed the river.
Do I sense anything nearby?
You can roll perception. You get the river. You definitely get probably game animals that are near or that have come down to this river within the last day or so. Probably like a elk or antelope type thing. You're not picking their scent up. Whenever they got here, it's been long enough that their scent is not here. You get everybody's from your group. That's about all you pick up.
Okay.
Can Ian make a judgment on time when they travel through?
Yeah. She was reading the tracks, and they were definitely about a week old. And at this point, it's still, the tracks are still about a week old. So maybe she's guessing somewhere around 5 days, 4 days, 5 days.
Can Harshnag help us across the river?
I mean, it's a big river.
Well, orcs clearly crossed it, so
everybody can swim across, yeah. But it's not like it's deep enough that he's not just gonna be able to walk people across. Yeah, it'll be swimming to get across.
All right. How did the thing the giants are dragging, did that go right up to the river?
Ian mentions, yeah, it looks like whatever they were doing right up to the river and in. And
There's no ford at that location?
No, she's seeing, boot tracks, paw prints from what appear to be large wolves, giant boot tracks. She's picked up a few animal tracks here and there of regular animals, probably not with the group. But yeah, it looks like they go to the river and then the tracks stop.
I'll start swimming across with Nod.
Okay. We haven't got to do those, so let's check this out. Let's try some swimming. All right, we get to use something new. So while climbing or swimming, each foot of movement costs 1 extra foot. Probably doesn't matter to us too much because we're not in certain turnaround unless the creature has climbing or swimming speed. Yeah, so strength athletics checks to cross the river. So it's a pretty good current. You're going to kind of float with the current some of the way, so you're gonna land a little bit south of where you enter. But you can all start making athletics checks to swim across the river. Unless you don't swim. All right.
This is horrible.
Finn's a fish. Ardreth? Oh, 15 saw it.
Yep. And we're
Ian?
pulling
Yeah.
horses with us.
It was me you were missing.
Yeah, that's what we need. Is your character sheet still not work?
No, it works, but I'm in lion shape still. So can I just use straight dex? Or, I'm sorry, straight strength?
Yeah, you can use strength or athletics.
Okay. Strength is 17.
Well, you're going to roll, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Ian did not either. Okay, so Ian and Coffee have become... You're swept further down by the river. The rest of you have swam across and you're at the other end. So when you enter it, obviously you can't swim against the current as you enter the cold water. Horses are kind of trailing along behind each of you. I'll just let the horse that you have with you go with you. Or lions if you have lions. And so you probably 50 yards down, you make it to the other side of the bank, a little bit further down the river. But those of you that made it, which would be Greybeard, Finn, Ardreth, and Edrim, you make it to the other side of the bank. But you definitely notice that Coffee and Ian have been swept. They were trying to make their way, but they're still in the center of the river, and they're heading further south as they struggle to try to swim against this current. They're having trouble with the current.
How about Harshnag?
Oh, I did not roll for Harshnag.
I'm assuming he can just get across pretty easy. I was just saying, could he go save them?
Well, let's see if he can get across. Do I have his...
Come on, Fire Giant made it across. Frost Giant.
That would be the best thing of like a frost giant like failing like 5 rolls in a row across the like river that only comes up to his ankle, just constantly falling over in the water.
Oh yeah, he's struggling with the current too. This is a deep water. It's not just he walks across it. He's actually struggling with the amount of current that is weighting against him too. So 3 of them are being swept further down the river. They're not, it's not like they're panicking or they're drowning. It's just that the current is pushing them harder. And it might be because they're lighter weight. And for Harshnag, he's heavier, so the current's hitting him harder. So they go. So the 3 of you get to make another roll. Okay, so he's able to make it. Harshnag is then able to make it the second time. And then Ian... athletics. Yeah, Ian makes it. And Coffee makes it. Okay, so you guys are just further down. You're a couple hundred yards further down the river than the group is. But you're able to... get back out. You're drenched. Your horses are with you. Took a little longer than you wanted to get across the river, but you're able to meet back up on the other side. I would think if you'd have missed a second one is when we would start trying to see if things really start to go wrong. But you guys made your second one, so we're good to go. All right. You guys are now across the river. So what you can see is you are definitely at the foot of, well, you're on the bank of the river on the north side of it now. You can see the mountains, which Harshnag mentions to you are the Frost Hills, loom to the north and to the west of you. They're quite sheer hills. They are capped with snow quite a ways up already. You can feel kind of the temperature, the coldness of the area. The more you head north and the closer you've gotten to these hills, the colder it's gotten. And there's definitely snow halfway up the mountains. You pick the tracks back up and it looks like they are following the river south. And you guys make it to about here once night falls. And do you guys, actually before we do that, do you stop to deal with being in ice cold water and it being freezing out anyways, or being cold out? Or do you just push on?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want no hypothermia.
No.
Okay. So you guys will make camp on the other side of the bank. So she picks up the tracks that say it looks like they followed the bank south. And it looks like they struggled too. She found tracks all around the bank area where they all came in 1s and 2s and 3s. And then it looks like they regrouped and then started heading south again along the river. And it looks like they're staying close to the river. You guys go ahead and set up camp, and you get your dry clothes out of your packs that hopefully weren't wet, and then start drying the stuff that you had. It is definitely cold out, and it's been getting colder day after day. You're starting to get into the later parts of fall, and winter is definitely coming. Yeah, tie into Game of Thrones. You see the White Walkers coming down from the Frost Hills.
I turn him. That was easy.
Yeah.
Nice.
He throws that big ice spear into your chest. All right. So you guys spend the evening there. You get most of your stuff dried using campfire. You set up your watch. Ian concentrates once again from where you guys are at. It would be about this far. Yeah, she mentions that she is still not picking up any giants yet. There's not any giants within 5 miles. Okay, you guys wake up next morning, break camp. Are you going to continue to push?
Yes.
Yes.
While we were there, do I get the feeling that playing Song of Rest would have helped any with Ian's exhaustion?
Well, you're all going to get a long rest, so that would clear
Okay.
any exhaustion.
Perfect. Then never mind.
Yeah.
Chip Song of Speed.
21. So you get
Which way
two
do the tracks
knots.
lead?
along the riverbank. They follow the river.
Okay.
So you guys get another 5 miles. You're pushing your pace. You're moving quickly. Go ahead and everybody make a Constitution saving throw.
At +3.
No, all good. Let me get Ian. There you go. You probably should be making rolls for smiles too. I don't know if you're doing that. Finn.
Oh, yeah.
Constitution saving throw.
We lost him back down the river.
He's like, "Where's anybody seen smiles like in a week?"
It's like a 3rd edition familiar. Poof. Oh, there's
It pops up
Smile.
on my character,
Uh-huh.
but that's him. 12, 14.
Okay. Yeah. You guys are all fine. Okay. The tracks follow the river. They follow, you can see the mountains, but then it appears like they head straight north into the mountain area here. So if you're looking at the map, it looks like there's a kind of a ravine that's formed into the mountain range. And it looks like the tracks lead north up into that. And Ian concentrates, and she is now picking up giants within 5 miles.
Can she tell how many?
Yeah, let me see what she gets for numbers here. It's under her spells. She is picking up. Just seems odd. This ability. I have a radar. So her mini map radar shows little red dots. There's definitely 3 giants. And then she also has humanoid, favorite enemy humanoid, so she would pick up 5 humanoids. And they look like they're north of where you guys are.
Like within a day's ride, or just like over the next hill?
It's within 5 miles. It doesn't. She doesn't have like terrain.
Couple hours, maybe.
Of them. She just knows, and I'm guessing it's because she can read the tracks. Is the only way I could figure out how she would know. But
I say because she has a mini map, a HUD.
yeah,
I say we travel that direction.
It's magic.
all right. So
Yeah.
you guys head north.
Quietly, now that we're close.
All right. So you guys head north. What's marching order?
The usual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus giant.
Oh, where's Harshnag gonna be?
You tell me.
How wide is the pathway we're riding?
Oh, it's more than a mile. I mean, it's you have slopes of the mountains are on either side of you. It's not like a narrow ravine or anything. But
Let's do Finn, Greybeard, and Harshnag in the front.
just kind of 3 abreast.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Ian's listed as being in front there, but
Yeah.
I don't. For a fight like this, we're gonna want her in the back anyway.
Okay. So you guys travel a few miles up and go ahead and the first 3 perception checks.
Smell.
Nope, sight.
I can smell slavers a mile away.
Let's break this out so I don't have to keep bringing it up. That would be smart. I'm just getting the other character sheets here real quick. There we go. All right, let everybody roll. 6, 25. Oh, so the 3 up front were Greybeard, Finn, and Harshnag. Those would be the ones making the roll. Perception. That's passive. That's Harshnag got a 18. He's also pretty vigilant. Greybeard, not seeing a perception check.
Bam.
Okay. So Finn and Harshnag realize you kind of feel like you're being watched, and you start kind of scanning the slopes of the hills, and but you're not really seeing anything. Let me let me do one thing.
Can we low talk communicate that to our eagle-eyed ranger?
Let me do one piece first before we get to that. Let's see. It's going to be Dex, I think. Oh, yeah, actually, that's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, so you feel like there's eyes on you, but you're not seeing from where. You're being watched. You have the feeling of being watched. Greybeard, you're not picking that up. You're kind of looking around, but you're on alert for danger, but you're not picking anything up.
Telling us that story about how you fought a rug into submission.
Oh, I did. I'm gonna put it on my wall in my tavern.
Oh, Finn, you got a 25.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. You see some movement up the slope. It looks like maybe some pebbles were dislodged halfway up the slope. You don't see what did it, but it's obvious something's up there. And it appears to be... you get the impression it's on your left side. So it would be on the... As you guys are moving north into this mountain range, it's on the west side.
Did Harshnag didn't see it? Then I take it.
No, he feels that they're being watched, and you notice he's more tense, but he's not seeing anything, and he didn't see the pebbles shift.
Well, I'll really quietly say it to the group, and ask Harshnag nicely to maybe take a rock and throw it up at that slide.
Oh, okay. So he kind of pulls out a fist-sized rock, and he's kind of looking at you, and he's like, "I'm throwing it where?"
I'll point to where I saw the pebbles move.
Okay. I'll have him throw. He doesn't really see anything, so we'll give him disadvantage, but he's got such a high bonus that it should still be a pretty good... yeah, so he throws a rock, and it looks like it crashes into what appears to be a kind of like a dead log, and it's half in a bush, half out, and the rock crashes into that log. The log rolls, and you hear a cry out of pain from the bush.
There we go.
And then from the slope, you see several figures kind of stand up and throw javelins down towards you guys. So each of you will get a few javelins thrown at you. So we'll start with Finn. Each of you will get, like, there's a group of orcs kind of pop up out of what looks to be like cover. And they were in pretty good cover. They had a pretty good stealth roll, but the 25 picked them out. So for Finn, we'll start with. So 3 javelins come arcing towards you. 13 would be a miss. 18.
Miss.
Misses. And a 10. So 3 javelins. 2 of them just probably miss completely. One of them probably clashes off your shield, which I assume is what you have out. Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then 3 more javelins arc out towards Greybeard. Ooh, a natural, but it's only 5 piercing damage, not big damage. Rolled a 1 and a 1. That's funny. Second javelin, 18.
Yep.
7 piercing. Last javelin. Wow, 23, 6 piercing. So
Jeez.
5, 7, and 6. 13, 18 total piercing damage.
Okay.
All 3 kind of rake into Greybeard. And they leave big gash marks on them. None of them seem to like penetrate to the point you have to pull them out, but they've all put big gashes on you at this point. And then the last 3 go to Harshnag. Total miss. Clanks off his armor. Wow, actually hits him. Oh my god. 8, 9, 10, 11. For 12 points. And Harshnag, you see it sink in between a couple of the plates of Harshnag's plate mail armor that he wears. And it just, by sheer luck, got in between the 2 plates and does 12 points of damage to him. Which will put him at... Okay. And then we can go ahead and roll initiative. That was the surprise round, but yeah, turn order is up. So everybody can roll initiative. Okay.
Do we need tokens up before you can put them in the turn order?
No, I'm just going to put them in. I didn't create a map for it. It's just a simple... All right. And let me get Harshnag while we're here. 14. All right. Edrim. Got a 17. Ian. Initiative. All right, so it looks like Edrim's going to be the one that gets to go first. So Edrim, you can go ahead and start your turn while I'm putting the rest of the turn order in. The group, you can see what has just happened is several orcs have stood up from cover. They threw their javelins and then they ducked down back behind cover again. They appear to have taken up positions in along either behind some trees or rocks or fallen logs or bushes. In a kind of an ambush position up on the slope of the hill, maybe only probably 40 feet up on the side of the hill. You saw javelins arc out, and one of them hit Harshnag, 3 of them hit Greybeard, and none of them hit Finn when you get to start your turn.
Okay. And how far away are they, approximately?
They're 40 feet up the hill, out towards the group that's up in the front. You're at probably back from that, so they're probably about 80 feet from you. You're back with the rest of the group.
Okay. I'm going to use my bonus action to resume human shape.
Okay.
And then I'm going to cast Wind Wall. In a second. And I'm going to put that barrier between the orcs throwing the javelins and the group out in front.
Okay. So you're not putting it within the creatures, but you're putting it out there so it interferes with them throwing?
Yes. So any more javelins they throw automatically miss.
Okay, cool.
That's a useful spell.
I've been waiting for this. It's been like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that.
Okay, so that's your action, your bonus action. Any movement, or you can stay with the... the group?
I am going to try to close with the group out in front. So they're 40 feet ahead of me. I can cover 30 of that.
Okay. So you get within 10 feet of them.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got Edrim, Greybeard, Harshnag, Coffee, Finn, or I don't see Ardreth. Ardreth, where was your...
It's in there.
6. Sorry. There it is.
It just sucked.
Ardreth. Nothing to brag about. Okay. Okay. That will bring us to Greybeard. Your turn. You've been punctured by several javelins. You can see the goblins up on the... Or not the goblins, the orcs have ducked back behind their cover. You kind of know where they're at now. They're trying to use the cover to make it, their ambush site. You see this... well, what's this wind wall look like, Edrim? Give us what it physically looks like.
It's not really even visible unless there's loose things that are getting picked up and thrown about. But there's
So Greybeard
probably
wouldn't see it?
there's probably dust and leaves being let fall that are being blown towards the orcs rather strongly, and that's probably all there is that's visible.
Okay, so that's what you kind of see, Greybeard. You do notice also to your right, which is where Harshnag was standing, he's pulling a javelin out from between a couple plates of his armor.
All right. All right. In my mind's eye, they're on multiple sides of us.
Nope, they're just on
Okay.
the west side of you.
Okay. And you said they're 40 feet away?
Yes, they're 40 feet up the hill.
All right.
It'll be difficult terrain moving up towards them. Which the only thing that means is you'll use 2 feet instead of 1 feet making that move. Unless you have an ability that ignores difficult terrain.
Yeah. I use my rogue power from the X-Men and take
I teleport.
Ian's
Bam.
Ian's ability to move through this terrain. All right, I bonus action rage out and
Okay. Let's mark it. How long's your rage last?
10 rounds. Well, a minute.
A minute. So yeah, let's put it in. Just so we have it, because I think I always forget to put that one in. Rage.
Yeah, I keep a 10-sider right here in my keyboard to.
All right,
denote
Greybeard
it
is
also.
raged.
All right, and then I move up, I guess, to the edge of said wind wall. Or wait, Well, yeah, the wind wall is right in front of them. I can move 35. Put it that way.
You
Does
can tell
that
that the
put
way
me in
Edrim
the
set the
wind?
wall up was to protect you guys from getting hit by javelins. It wasn't to place the wall on top of them. So you can tell that the wall was placed just probably within feet to the left of you to try to help protect you from javelins.
All right, and then let's see, deflected upward and automatically miss. Okay.
It doesn't say anything about passing through it. It says when the wall appears, they can take some damage, but not after that.
Yeah, it only says gaseous form, can't pass through it. So
And it's a
Right.
concentration up to a minute, so it will last for 10 rounds also, Edrim. Or until you drop your concentration.
Yep.
So I'm going to
All
put
right.
in Wind Wall for Edrim, which is at 10. So it looks like you can move through it. I think it just, things don't fly through it is what it seems like to me.
All right. I move 35 and huck a javelin, which I assume as soon as it hits the wind wall goes winging up in the air.
It's a 50-foot long, 15-foot high, 1 foot thick. So the moment you walk 1 foot through it, you're on the other side of it.
All right. Then I huck a javelin at said.
Oh, wait. Well,
Or-
it says you can shape the wall any way you choose, so long as it makes one continuous path along the ground. Is that the shape you chose, Edrim?
If the orcs are fairly concentrated, I would have just left it a straight line. If they are spread out and kind of arcing around our group, then I would have tried to cover arc so that we have protection from all sides.
Okay, but how thick is the wall?
Just 1 foot.
1 foot. Okay, yeah. So when you're 1 foot on the other side of it, Greybeard, you're free of the wall. You can throw a javelin.
I will huck a javelin.
Okay. Yeah, 22 would strike a hiding orc. He's trying to use cover, but you're able to throw well enough. So it strikes him.
And so then, I'm not much of a ranged guy. I still get 2 attacks because I have extra attack, correct?
Your ability talks about having extra melee attacks, right? Doesn't it say specifically what types of attacks you get?
Yeah, but when I am when I get to 5th level, I get extra attack, just like a fighter does.
Right. All I'm saying is, does it mention if it's a specific type of attack, or what does it say? Is what I'm saying, because it might say which one it is or which one it's not.
I will have to actually. In the book.
I would think you could throw 2 javelins.
I would too, but I'm gonna look. It may be extra attack. Beginning at 5th level, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. All right.
Yep. That sounds right then.
So same guy, second hucking.
That's a miss.
All right. Which
9, yeah, 15. Okay. All right. Any other actions?
Nope.
Moving on to Mr. Harshnag. Yeah, he's going to charge up. He takes his axe out with his interact. Well, he already had his axe out. He snaps the javelin in half, looks quite perturbed, and then charges up the hill. And he'll take a swing at a orc who seems to be hiding behind what looks to be like a dead log. So he swings his axe, which I'm sure just cremates the it's not so much as a cutting an orc, it's more of like a obliterating an orc that was hiding behind the cover, and even the log that he was hiding behind is disintegrated as he smashes through. That brings us to Coffee.
All right, I will Blade Song up and cast Haste.
Right.
And as
Blade
my second action from Haste, I will move 80 feet towards the orcs.
Yeah, you can get right up on him at that point. Let's put you up here. Where's Blade Song? There we go. All right, so Blade Song is running, which puts you at what AC again? That puts you at a 20, 21?
Puts me at a 22
22. Okay.
because of the haste.
Yep, you travel up the ridgeline. Oh, remember it's difficult terrain moving up, but you used your haste, so you get a bunch of movement.
Yeah, so I've got 80 of movement. So if it's difficult, I can go 40.
Yeah, you can get up to part of the group. They're kind of strung out in a line. They're not like all standing shoulder to shoulder or anything. They're all trying to find cover in their little ambush spot.
Perfect.
All right, so Blade Song's going. We see Coffee sprinting up the the side of the hill here, scrabbling over debris, rock slide stuff, and jumping from log to log. Pretty cool. Like casting a spell, and then Finn's up.
All right, Nod moves 50 feet per round, so that makes it 25 feet for him.
Yeah, you're gonna ride him up the.
They are 30 feet up.
Yeah. Hey, does that saddle remind me what that saddle does for you?
I just can't be unhorsed.
Oh, okay.
Lion, I guess.
Yeah, they're 40 feet to your left, up difficult terrain up the mountain slope. And you do have to go through a 1-foot wind wall, and then you're on the other side of it.
All right. He will move up to the wind wall.
Well, the wind wall is within a foot of you.
Oh, that's super close. All right.
Yeah, it looked like he put it there to shield you from javelins.
I'll ride up 25 feet.
All right, so you start heading up.
Movement. Yeah. I'll put my lance away though and pull out the warhammer.
So warhammer shield out, riding Nod up the hill.
Yep.
Smiles.
Attempting to follow on foot.
Okay. What weapons does he have out?
Probably a shield. You know what? Longbow.
Okay.
He's not going to be able to get there in a round or two.
All right.
So actually, he can step through the wall and shoot his longbow.
Yeah, could step through, fire, and then step back.
I didn't assume that he was up forward with you. I assumed he was back with the group, which I don't think the wall is near. The wall is near the group up to the front. That was up a little bit further than everybody else.
Yep.
So was he? I assumed he was back with the regular group. So he's not near a wind wall at this point.
All right, then he just shoots with his longbow and attempts to close with Finn.
Yeah, so he just picks a target out of a hiding orc and tries to fire an arrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 21 would be enough. Ooh, 9 piercing, good. You guys are rolling 9s. Okay. Orc's turn. They get up and run. So they make they are running north along the ridge side there. It looks like they're following some sort of trail that's meanders kind of 40, 50 feet up. Looks like it's a game trail of some sort. And they begin running north. All of them have jumped up and start running north. So they move. They move 30 feet away from you guys at a run. And they'll take the dodge action as they go. All right. Ardreth, you were up.
It's time for some lightning.
Nice. Yeah, so they're kind of in a broken line of running orcs trying to run away. Nice.
Okay. So it's 60 feet radius above them, and it allows me to call down lightning. Each creature within 5 feet of that point must make a dexterity saving throw. Creature takes 3d10 lightning damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. So I will go wherever I see the largest concentration of them.
Yeah, they're all probably the most you could get is 3 on the first shot. There's 3 of them. There, you could hit one, and there's a couple that are within 5 feet of them. So they just make a dex save, right? What is it? Yeah, dexterity saving throw. All right. So first one. And the dex save is against your spell DC, I assume.
Which is 14.
Okay, so that one definitely takes the full hit. That's the one you targeted. The guy within 5 feet makes it, so is that a half damage?
Correct.
Yeah. And then the other guy that's within 5 feet will take full damage. So first guy took, go ahead and roll damage.
Hold on one sec. I clicked on the wrong spell.
Oh, were you not? You're not doing call lightning. You're doing something else.
Oh, I was. I just opened up the wrong spell inside my box.
Oh,
3
gotcha.
die 10.
Yep, need 3 die 10 roll.
It's been too long. I'm trying to remember to go back where to. Hold on.
There you go, 13. That guy gets hammered. That guy is at that, and that guy gets hammered. Okay. So yeah, the lightning blast nearly knocks a guy down. You can tell he's scorched and singed. His armor is sizzling. One of the guys takes a little bit of damage from just the blast area of that lightning strike hitting. There's now clouds overhead that have formed. And then the second guy takes... they actually watch the lightning jump from one guy and like an offshoot fork hits a third guy who's running too. And so not quite down. He scrabbles, scrapes his knees, gets back up, and then continues to struggle forward. So they are both hit hard. All three are hit hard, but not taken out quite yet.
Nice.
All right. And what's crazy about that is that thing lasts for 10 minutes. So I'm not even going to put a counter on that. That would be 100 rounds. So we'll just leave that alone. That would bring us back to the top of the round. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and call tonight's session. That's 10 o'clock. So we're at our session end. So we've got orc ambush, as we're trying to track down some what appear to be prisoners or slaves that were taken by a group of what we assume to be giants at this point, although we've not sighted those giants yet. And the group is in battle once again. So definitely tune in next Monday when we pick up this fight in the Frost Hills, and we see where this leads us as we continue on to revenge on the Zymorvan Hall attack. You can definitely check out anything that you've missed out on YouTube. I will post this video if you happen to miss part of it. Not tomorrow, but the next day. If I stream it, then I have to wait a day before I can put it on YouTube, but then it'll be up. So hopefully everybody enjoyed. Can't wait to see everybody next week, Monday night. It'll be fun. Definitely check us out on Thursday also. We have a Thursday night game going on of a homebrew 5e campaign that's been pretty fun. That's a big zombie fest at the moment. If you want to see a lot of zombie fighting, check us out on Thursday night. And then keep your eye out on the channel for other upcoming one-shots, other games, other things that we'll be doing throughout. Definitely check out Greybeard's channel on Twitch. He's doing all his shows are still active and live and running. PD probably be back in a couple of weeks or at least a month when you check her channel out. And that is all of our people that are doing YouTube and Twitch stuff. So hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully you had a great time, and we will see you in the next episode. I'll put the character sheet up just so you can see them just for a little bit, and then we will catch you next time. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.